All right, now to a person, let's go to a person who actually knows Michael Jackson. Steve Whitsitt is online with us, and he was a personal photographer for Michael Jackson from 94 to 95. Steve, welcome to the Young Turks.
Hey, Jake, how you doing?
I'm good. So now, we did a lot of speculation there as to whether Jackson's a good guy, bad guy. You obviously spent some time with him. So what are your thoughts here? I mean, having interacted with him, is it what we would expect? Are you going to tell us, no, he was just the sweetest guy you ever saw?
Well, it's really funny because I think that my experience with him, and I have never talked like in a public way. I've talked to a lot of friends and stuff like that. When I heard that he passed away, I called you guys because I love your show, and you're the only interview I really want to do about this. So, but my feeling about Michael is that Michael was incredibly sweet and kind to me, but I feel like Michael showed me what Michael wanted me to see of him.
That's interesting. Since you're his personal photographer, of course, he's going to direct you what to show the rest of the world as well. So,
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And I mean, but there were, I mean, I could talk to you for an hour about this. I know that you've got one segment, so I won't go into too many details, but I mean, there were things that I saw the genius of the man, and then I saw like an intuition that he had. One time I had to go to his parents' house, and I met his father, and right after that I was in New York City, and I said, "Yeah, Mike, I met your dad last week," and he looked at me and he said, "See?" And he knew that I knew. You know, and I mean, and his dad is not a good person.
So, Steve, for the people who don't know about his relationship with his dad, tell us what you think he means by C.
Well, I think that what he means is, I mean, his dad came to me when I was in his house and said, "How much is my son paying you to be here? And when are you going to be out of my house?" And just kind of did everything he could to sort of intimidate me and bully me and you know, and all that, and you know, and I'm not like a real aggressive type of a person, so I was intimidated, but it was Michael just understood me and my sensitivities well enough to understand that we didn't have to have a conversation about his dad to know that I got what his dad was all about.
Do you think that was what was driving his inner demons and his insecurities? Was this lack of love that he got from his dad, and this unbelievable intimidation, etc., that he got from his dad?
I think that's part of it, and at the risk of being an armchair psychologist, I think that the biggest thing, and probably the most important thing I have to say about Michael, is that Michael was surrounded by people who wanted to tell him yes. And you're newly married, and I've been married for 10 years, and one of the best things that our wives do for us is they say, "No, that's not a good idea. Don't do that." And Michael was surrounded with everybody that wanted to tell him yes. And you're just nobody's supposed to have that. You need to have people tell you no. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And so that creates a bubble where you can't weed out your bad ideas.
Precisely.
And even your bad ideas, they get amplified because everybody's telling you yes, yes, yes. It's a weird analogy, but it's part of the reason why Bush was such a disaster, because no one had the nerve to tell him no, and whatever his dumb ideas were, everybody said yes, yes, yes. So now let's talk about the plastic surgery a little bit, because it's, you know, my sense is that that's part of what undid him here health-wise. Mm-hmm. Even back in 94, 95, was it clear to you that he had some, you know, psychological need to constantly change his appearance?
I don't know if I can speak to that, but I know that I saw him more than once without makeup on, and it was kind of, I don't want to talk bad about him because I genuinely, you know, based only on my interaction with him, I genuinely liked the man. But I mean, he had clearly had way more than what he admitted to Oprah. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, by the end, how many dozens of surgeries we think? I mean, did it get up to triple digits?
I have I can't really speak to. But what was sad was that when I would see him, when I was working with him, he was living in Trump Tower in New York, and so I'd fly out from New York or from LA to New York and stay a week and do a series of photo shoots with him, and you know, get the film processed back in the film days, and you know, and then go show him the film. And so I'd come over to his apartment in Trump Tower, and he'd come out with no makeup on, and he always had like a Band-Aid covering his nose, and you know, and it was like, oh man, you know, it was sad.
Yep.
It was really sad.
Steve, final question for you. We're talking to Steve Whitsitt. He was a personal photographer for Michael Jackson between 1994 and 1995. Any other, you know, personal interactions with him, an anecdote or anything that gave you any insight into him, other than the dad one, which is powerful because it gives you a set of course, his mindset and what was driving him to some degree. But anything that led you to thinking one way or another? Conclusion is too hard a word, but any story that led you to feeling one way or another about Michael?
Just that I screwed up a job one time, and when it was discovered that I screwed up a job, he took me aside and he said, "Steve, I know how hard you are on yourself. This wasn't your fault. You did what you were supposed to do, but I had photographed the wrong thing." And he comforted me. He said, "You know, I know that you're really, really hard on yourself," and I had never told him I was really hard on myself, but I am. I have really high expectations of myself, and the fact that with everything else that was going on, that he had that insight into me, kind of, you know, that's left me with a warm place in my heart for him that I will always have.
Yeah, and there's some tragic irony that he could have that kind of insight into people around him, but not into himself.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. All right, Steve Whitsitt, thanks so much for joining us on the Young Turks. Really appreciate you coming on to talk about this.
No problem. It's my pleasure.